Okay, the first thing I do is I go into Google Docs and I go to Create, and I'm going to open up a spreadsheet. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this spreadsheet. So I go up here to rename and call it Euro Kangaroo. Okay, I'm going to make the columns a little bit wider, so I'm going to highlight columns A, B, C, D and E, and I'm going to drag it out a little bit bigger like so. Okay, I'm going to go to cell A1, and this is going to be the time after birth in days. Move on to column B1, C1, and this is going to be the tail size of Euro Kangaroo number 1 in millimeters. Move on to C1, this is going to be the tail size of Euro Kangaroo 2 measured in millimeters. Move on to D1, this is going to be the tail size of Euro Kangaroo 3, once again measured in millimeters. And the last column is going to be the average tail size, once again measured in millimeters. Okay, so the zoo has given us information back about the days, and they have sent information back about after 20 days of birth, after 40 days, 60 days, all the way up to 240. So we fill them in like so. Up to 240. We now have the information about the tail size of Euro Kangaroo 1 after 20 days, and that information is 20 millimeters. After 40 days it is 36 millimeters. After 60 days it is 56. After 80 days it is 80 millimeters. After 100 days it's 108 millimeters. After 120 days it's 142 millimeters. After 140 days it's 179 millimeters. After 160 days it's 221. After 180 it's 267. After 200 it's 317. After 220 it's 372, and after 240 it's 431. We do the same information, but obviously just for Kangaroo, Euro Kangaroo number 2. So after 20 days it was 18. After 20 days its tail size was 34 millimeters. After 60 days it was 54. After 80 days it was 78. After 100 days it was 106. After 120 days it was 140. After 140 days it was 177. After 160 days it was 219. After 180 it was 265. After 200 it was 315. After 220 it was 370. And after 240 days its tail length was 429 millimeters. Finally, we do Euro Kangaroo number 3. So after 20 days its tail size was 22. After 40 days its tail size was 38. After 60 days 58. After 80 days it was 82. 100 days 110. 120 days 144. After 140 days it was 181. After 160 days it was 223. 180 days 269. 200 days 319. 220 days it was 374. And 240 days its tail size was 433 millimeters. Okay, what we're now going to do is we're going to work out the average tail size for 20 days. So if we click on cell E2 and we go to insert and go down to function, you will see the one that is called average. click on that. Now we need to highlight what numbers we want the average to come from. So we're going to click on cell B2 and drag it over to cell D2. And we press enter and we get an average of 20. So the average of 20, 18 and 22 is 20. We need to do this for all the other ones, but there's a nice easy way of doing that. If we click on this cell, there's a little blue box down the bottom right. When we put the mouse over it, it turns to a cross. We hold the mouse down and we drag it all the way down. And there now are the average tail sizes for all the various days. Okay, I'm just now going to tidy up the table so that it's ready to print. So I'm going to highlight the whole table. I'm going to give it some borders. So I'll move it up here and I'm going to click on this one, all borders. I also like to have everything in order down the center. So I'll click here. Okay, it's looking quite good. And maybe just colour in this first row just to make it look nice. And I'm not sure the font is the right size. It's maybe a little bit small. Arial 10. I'm maybe going to go to Arial. Let's go to Arial 12. Okay. And that looks quite nice. Apart from, as you can see, column A maybe needs to be a little bit wider. So I click on column A. And the last column needs to be a little bit wider as well. You can play around with that. Okay. And that now is a nice table for the Euro Kangaroo. You can now print that off and stick it into your booklet.